I want to show you some absolute fear-mongering from Simon Holmes' Court's Climate 200. This is the mob behind the till. So if you're thinking about voting for Allegra Spender or Monique Ryan in Melbourne or Zoe Daniels next door to her in Melbourne or Kate Chaney in Perth, this is the radical leftist scare campaign you are rewarding.
2024, with the hottest day and the hottest months on record. The sound you hear is the ticking clock. Climate action is not optional, it's an imperative.
Now, apart from the scary pictures and soundtrack, the script for that ad, the words, were provided by the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. This bloke is not a scientist. Before he joined the Portuguese Socialist Party, he was an engineering academic. He's been a political professional and proclaimed socialist for 50 years. Guterres was Secretary-General of the Socialist Party in Portugal before he went on to be the Socialist Prime Minister of that country, and he even headed up the Socialist International before heading to the United Nations to be the Commissioner for Refugees. Now this socialist lectures the world, and Climate 200 and the TLMPs use him as their mouthpiece here. Climate 200 also are now trying to smear opposition leader Peter Dutton by linking him in their advertising to Donald Trump. Have a look at this. They're pretending there's something Trumpian about Peter Dutton, which is pretty pathetic. Although to the extent it reinforces the point that Dutton will be strong on border security, supportive of Israel and focused on reviving the economy, it's not a bad comparison for the Liberal leader at all. Climate 200 are also promoting another ad full of swearing and juvenile comparisons.
Preferential voting. Preferential voting allows you to tell the two-party system to f*** off. Because unlike Americans who were forced to choose between or light, preferential voting lets you vote for a not candidate, one who does stand with you instead of Coles, Coal and Qantas. All you need to do is put them first on your ballot before the major parties, safe in the knowledge that even if they don't win, your choices will still be counted. Which is why in Australia, it's impossible to waste your vote, so you don't need to vote like an American.
Just pathetic stuff, isn't it? I suppose if you like this approach to politics, if you like a different shade of greens, I guess the teals are for you. Meanwhile, the Climate Council is still preaching climate alarmism and venturing into electricity lies too, with their latest email to potential donors blaming last week's power shortages on coal-fired electricity. This is simply untrue. Coal, along with gas, continues to deliver the bulk of the power in the grid day after day. Coal providing 50 to 60% of the electricity on the grid, with gas supplementing that with an extra up to 10% or so on most days, and wind sometimes contributing a tiny fraction of the energy required. But the Climate Council continues to mislead people deliberately, and they turn on media who deal in reality. Their email, pleading for donations, of course, also says that the Sky News and News Corp crowd went into meltdown after last week's power shortages, using the opportunity to run piece after piece of tired myths about renewables and feverishly calling for more fossil fuels, says the Climate Council, which then claimed that climate change is driving hotter, longer heat waves, that it's putting pressure on our ageing energy system. This is just astounding, these communications there. It's like war is peace again, ignorance is strength stuff. These people talk about a couple of warm days as a heat wave. They say it's a lie to talk about the fact that renewables are intermittent. And then they've claimed we've never faced weather this hot before. And they pretend that renewable energy can power the nation. Well, they also argue that Australia can change the global climate. Just myth after myth, lie after lie, as they spread fear and misinformation. So if you really think the world is about to be destroyed, and you think Australian wind farms will save it, and you identify with the Socialist International, then donate to the Climate Council, I guess, and vote teal. Just don't forget to let the rest of us know when the power grid is fixed and when prices have come down and temperatures are just about right, the way we like them. Oh, and of course, when the planet is saved.